Hello everyone, welcome to JCE Connect, the online series of learning. So we are seeing Microsoft Project Lab. Welcome to Lab 3. So here mainly we'll be studying the task. What are the different tasks? It is also called as activity, and also to establish the relationship between the activities. Okay, so the pre-requirements for this lab: you need to know the basics of project planning and scheduling, the basic option to be set as explained in lab 1 to start a new project, and also preparation of calendar and application of the calendar to the Gantt chart as seen in our lab 2. Okay, so today we'll be covering introduction to the screen, entering the task, entering the duration, assigning the mode of schedule, assigning the predecessors with the dependency type, and establishing the relationship for the activities. So first let us have introduction to the screen. So this one, you know, it is called as your home screen. Soon when you open your Microsoft project software, okay, when you open the blank file, you will be able to see the screen, right? So here you'll have the task mode, okay, you'll have the task name, you'll have the duration, start, finish, predecessor, and resources. Okay, so why I'm introducing the screen before is today in detail you will be learning about the screen, okay, and the different parameters. So first we'll see what do you mean by a task. A task is nothing but it's an activity. So what is an activity? Anything that has a definite start and definite end, okay, it is called as an activity. Thus task is an activity performed to achieve the required work, and it is the basic unit of the project, okay, as we know. So in this section it deals how to get started creating a project by entering the task, duration, okay, and also the milestones. Now we'll spend much of the time in the project by adding and modifying these tasks. So first let us see what do you mean by task, or what exactly we need to do, or what is called as entering the task. The first level of creating a project in Microsoft Project is to enter the task name and the duration. Okay, so once when we apply this task name and duration, with respect to that we can apply the various resources, okay, you can estimate the cost and all the other things, but this is the primary input what we have to give for a particular project. So when you enter the task ID is created, and each task has a unique ID number, but it is not necessarily means it need not be in the order, but every activity or every task will be identified independently. There will be no repetition of the task. Okay, you have seen this particular thing, you may remember in the example of our critical path method problem. Okay, activity to activity or activity to node, no node number can be same, it cannot repeat, right? So every activity should have its unique number. Fine. So next one is about the duration. So here the task duration is amount of time you expect, that is it will take to complete the particular task. Now you may say your excavation requires 10 days. It requires 10 days means what? It is a particular duration to complete that particular activity, right? So the project work with the task duration that ranges from minutes to months. But in our Microsoft project, to make it easier depending upon the scope of work, you can assume task duration on the scale of hours, days, and weeks. But usually whatever is given, whether it is in the hours or weeks, we usually consider in the days format because it is easy for us to understand. Okay, so here you are able to see, here you will enter the task name, okay, here you will be entering the duration. Now when we enter this task name and duration, okay, how exactly you have to give your start date and end date. Okay, so there again you can make it auto, or you can manually feed the start date and end date. That is your task mode here. So next we will see what you mean by your task mode. Okay, the way in which the task should be ruled is called as task mode. Okay, so here we have two types. One is manually scheduled mode and another one is auto scheduled mode. Okay, so what exactly you mean by manual schedule? So this manually scheduled task can be placed anywhere in our schedule and project won't move it. Okay, for example, now you think you have listed all the activities, and when you're tracking your particular project, okay, suddenly due to some uncertainty, any one activity has a delay. So what you do, you reschedule all the activities. So when you reschedule all the activities, here when you have the manual schedule thing, again manually you need to reschedule all the activities, that is your project won't move it. But in your auto scheduled mode, it is what, here the task is scheduled with highly structured and systematic way of managing the particular thing. Okay, so once when you say auto schedule or manual schedule, it decides the flexibility for your activities to move in the project. So here you can see how exactly we make this option. One is in our main ribbon. Okay, in the task you have two options, one is manually scheduled or auto scheduled, right? Likewise, in the second option is in our home screen, there is task mode, where exactly you can select whether it is manually scheduled or whether it is auto scheduled. Okay, so how exactly we can do? Either we can do it for every individual activities when we feed, we'll check it out in our practical examples, or else you can select the entire group of activities at once and you can select this option as auto scheduled. Here automatically it will get scheduled. Okay, so next here you are seeing one more picture. Okay, I have entered few of the activities, right? You can see in this picture before. So what you are able to see? Check. Okay, I have entered the various activity names. You are able to see I have entered the various activity names. I have given the duration. So after this activity names and duration, here you are able to see the icon. It is auto scheduled. Because it is auto scheduled, you are able to see the start date and end date is also there. But you are able to make one observation. What is that? This is what is my Gantt chart that is established, right? So here in this particular Gantt chart, everything, all the activities are started parallelly. Is it possible practically? No, right? So this is not possible practically. So as you can see the image, few of the activities are added, but you can see that each activity starts parallel to each other and it is not possible in the real time project. Okay, so for that, for example, your tracing of soil cannot be started before or parallel to excavation. Is it possible? No, because only once my excavation is over, then I can continue with my next activity. But here it is showing all the activities are started together. Okay, so here we need to establish the predecessors. Okay, we need to give the relationship, that is called as what? We need to establish the relationship between the activities. Then only you can represent your project well. Okay, so here activities in the column of predecessors by just putting the row numbers there. So now we'll see how exactly we do that. Okay, so you are able to see what you mean by this relationship. So relationship means what? It is dependency between the two tasks, and task with dependency are always linked. That is, activity A to activity B, you have to establish, you have to give the relationship, else every activity is known to work independently, but it is not so. Okay, so the task with dependency relationship are always linked. A task that occurs before another task is called as what? Predecessor task. And the task that occurs after one activity is called as what? Successor task. For example, if I say for my excavation, which is the predecessor? Obviously it will be my line out, right? Line out, column positioning, they will act as my predecessor activity. That means only if my line out activity is completed, my marking is done, then only I can start with my excavation. So for excavation, line out will act as a predecessor. But what do you mean by successor? Only if I complete with my excavation thing, then only I can start with my foundation activity. So for excavation, line out will be the predecessor and foundation concrete will be the successor. I hope you have understood the meaning of predecessor and successor. So the task with the dependency relationship are always linked. So types of dependency we'll see. So in types of dependencies we have 4 types, that is finish to start, okay, we have finish to start, start to start, finish to finish and start to finish. You are able to see here. So in this particular thing, now to understand this better, okay, we'll consider every aspect. I'll explain you with a practical example here. So finish to start means what? Your finish date of the predecessor determines the start date of a successor activity. That means if I have to start with my foundation concreting, predecessor is what? Excavation. It has to be completed. That means only if my excavation is complete, then only I can start with foundation concreting. So that is called as what? Finish to start. One will finish, other will start. The next one is start to start. So where exactly you can consider the start to start? For example, my excavation I am doing, also I have to transfer my excavated material. I have to howl the material. It is not possible that I just excavate and keep all the material at the site, right? Simultaneously the howling of the material should be started. So here I can establish the relationship as what? Start to start. That means howling is a different activity, excavation is a different activity, but I'll establish a relationship of what? Start to start. That means my excavation activity and howling will start together. That means start activity of the predecessor determines the start date of a successor. Start to start. Next one is finish to start. That means the finish date of predecessor task determines the finish date of successor task. That means what? Just imagine the last activity of my particular project and all the activities of the project. Okay, that means 2 activities, irrespective of whenever it will start, it has to end on a same day or it has to end together. So that is called as what? Finish to finish activity. Okay, for example, in painting, irrespective of whenever I start my internal paint and external paint, I will establish a relationship of what? Between the internal and external paint as finish to finish. That means irrespective of or independently, let them start on any day, but they have to complete on a same day. The last one is start to finish. So here start date of a predecessor determines the finish date of the successor. Okay, so that is a reverse way of explaining the activity, and this particular thing I'll explain you with explain you in a practical session. Okay, so here also along with this we need to use something called as a lead time and a lag time. So why exactly or where exactly it is useful, we'll see. First, what is this lead time? So lead time is overlap between the tasks that have dependency. Okay, so for example, now you think your excavation is a activity. Now if you consider, if you input one more activity as what? Getting all the equipments to the site. Now if you are establishing the relationship between both, you can say that your equipments should be there on the site on the day when you have to carry out the excavation, right? You need to have your excavator, that is your JCB. But usually what happens, if you try to get it on the same day and by chance if there is any delay in getting the equipment, your particular activity will start late and your project will have a delay. So what you can do, you can get it half a day prior or you can get it 1 day prior. So 1 day prior to that activity means what? I'll be giving as what? It will start to start. Okay, that getting equipments, if you consider as activity, it will start with excavation, but you are getting equipments 1 day before. That I'll say as -1, start to start -1. That means a day prior to the work. So in project we need to enter the lead time as negative lag time. Okay, that means -1, that -1 means it is a negative lag time. So your lag time means what? It is a delay between the tasks that have dependency. For example, your excavation and hauling of the excavated material. Now if I say my excavation I am starting today, okay, I need not start hauling of the material at the same time, because hardly some material will be collected. So what I can do, after half a day or maybe after 1 day I can start hauling of the material. So what relationship I can give here? I can give here as the previous activity, that is the excavation activity, start to start +1. The plus sign indicates what? I am lagging it for 1 day. +1 means after 1 day I will be starting. I hope you understood the meaning between lag time and lead time. So this also we can check it out in our practical session. Okay, so here you can see the practical example what I have explained. It is little blurred because it's a screenshot. Okay, so what I have done here, just check, I have just given my so I hope you are able to see this, right? So what I have done here, I have given or I have named various activities. Okay, also have named the duration, and you can observe one more thing, I have even made the task mode. Okay, I have selected as auto schedule and I have given the input of the predecessor. Now just concentrate here. So you can see for my activity number 2, these are what 1 2 you are able to see the numbers here, right? That is 1 2 3 4 5 here, these numbers, and here you are able to see the predecessor number. For tracing of the soil, that is second activity, I have given here as 1. 1 means what? Why I have given here as 1? Because this is 1. That means tracing will start after my activity 1. Okay, tracing of activity will be done. So why I have given here the number as 1? Because it will be started after my excavation activity. For PCC I have given the number as 2. Why? Because here the tracing number is 2, right? That means my PCC will be started after tracing. Okay, so this is how we have to enter our predecessors. Okay, this one also you will understand in the practical session. So as you can see, now the bar is shifted after completion of predecessor activity. Why? You are able to see initially all had started together, right? Now your bars are moved. Your bars are moved with respect to the duration. Now means if you have given here as 2 days or 5 days, 5 days here on the time scale, it is showing 5 days with respect to the time. Okay, except the holidays. If the holidays is there, see this is the holiday, you are able to see little dark, the activities is pushed 2 days ahead. So it is showing as 7 days minus 2 holidays, right? So here you are able to see the bars are moved, that means the relationship is established. And here you can observe one more common thing. What is the relationship that is established? For all the activities it is finish to start. That means if you don't give any relationship, automatically it will take finish to start. You are able to see here, right? This activity is finishing, this is starting. Again this is finishing, next will start. This is finishing, next will start. Automatically finish to start. But now we can say that tracing is 2 days, then after 1 day the activity some of the work will be, means some of the work of the activity will be completed, and by next day PCC work in trace part can be started parallel to it. That only means if I have to start any activity parallelly with respect to other activity, how I can do it? Okay, so for that particular thing you are able to see here 2, right? Or you are able to see here as 3. So what I can give here, or I can give here as 3, start to start +1 minus 1 I can directly feed there, or there is one more option that on any of the activity double click. So when you double click you will get the prompt box. Okay, so here first in our this one, in our prompt box, so this is called as the task information. So in this task information we have predecessor data what you will be entering, the resources data, the general data, okay, the nodes, custom fields and all. So here you are able to see, right, predecessor for a particular act, it is showing as PCC. Okay, and the scheduled mode, it is manual or auto, it is auto because already I have selected, or else also you can make the selection here. And duration you are able to see here, you are able to see name, and also you are able to see the this one, scheduled mode. Okay, and you are able to see when it is starting and when it is ending. So this is, now next we'll select the predecessor tab. Now if you select your predecessor tab, you will be getting this particular thing. That means for my PCC activity, for this PCC activity, which is a predecessor activity, it is tracing. See, automatically it will show there in the predecessor column, and I have to select. See here the type, you can see all the 4 relationships are here: finish to start, start to start, finish to finish, and start to finish. Also there is something as lag. Okay, so if you want to enter the lead time, it will be in minus. That is what I explained in the previous slide. Lag time is what directly you can say as 1, 2, 3. Lead, if you want to enter, you will give it as a minus lag time. That is -1 if you say, it will take as lead. If you just say 1, it will take as lag. So this is how you select your relationship. So in this tab you will find the predecessor activity for PCC as tracing. So here you need to change the type of activity to finish like start to start. Okay, so I have selected here as start to start. So here you are able to see this is what I have selected. Fine. So after selecting, just click OK. So once it is done, now are you able to see the difference between both? So what has happened here? To start plus 1. Okay, it is taken as, see, you are able to see, right? It is taken as to start plus 1, and also you are able to see the corresponding bars, how they have changed. See, the relationship established is what? This is starting with this activity, okay, and then the other activities are continued. So similarly, now you can see the change in the bar as well as the predecessor. Okay, I hope here you understood how exactly it means. Now similarly, the activity of bar bending has no relation to do with excavation, so that it can be started parallel with excavation. That means what? Your bar bending, it is not depending, it does not mean like your excavation should be over, then only bar bending can be started, right? Irrespective of this, you can independently start this, so that you can save the time, because people who are working for bar bending are different than who are working for excavation. So again there also you can give as what? Start to start. So all that thing, so for that thing you can either directly feed it here, or else you can double click, go to the task information and make the change. So now we'll check out the whatever we have studied in our practical session. So here we are at end of lab 3 theory session. So let's start this in our practical session.